Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts. I am Peter, that is Connor. This is our weekly movie news video. Of course, we talk about the week's movie news. We have a horror section, we have a trailer section, we talk about the week's trailers, some of the biggest ones, some of the interesting ones. Not necessarily every single one, I have to curate them a little bit, otherwise we'll be here forever. That said, this show is typically very long. Rarely are we under 2 hours. This might be the shortest movie news show we've ever done. Not because I was particularly vicious with my cutting axe, just because it was a quiet news week.
Yeah, it happens.
It was less than normal. So we'll work through our sections as always. We'll do the trailers as always. At the end of the show, we'll talk about any movies we watched this week that weren't for review purposes, of which I'm pretty sure I have none. So, so Connor will once again talk to us for 20 damn minutes.
I haven't got that many.
About the 9 films he watched this week.
It's definitely not 9, I promise you that.
Well, that's nice. That's good. So we start with box office. That's what we do. We always start with box office.
We do that.
Yeah, second guessing me. What are you
I'm not second guessing. I'm reaffirming.
Oh yeah, I'll give you the warning that I gave in the TV show. I'm operating in very little sleep, so this might be a slightly loopier hosting job than normal.
I think that'll be the first one of these for the movie news, right? I mean, it's happened time to time for the TV in the past. But I think this might be the first sleep-deprived movie news.
It may be. And I don't know, I feel like people might enjoy a loopy version once in a while.
If they can wait for you to get your sentences out.
Look, I'm hitting roadblocks in my sentences, and I have to figure out a way.
Really think about what you're going to say.
To jump over them.
Yeah.
I have to speak slow, steady, and thoughtfully to make sure that I say nothing stupid.
Bright side, people might be able to understand your accent a bit better.
Go play on the road, you ginger menace.
I'm sure they understood that.
I'm sure they did. Anyway, we'll start with box office. We did predictions last week. I've got our predictions. We guessed for 2 movies. We guessed for A Quiet Place, and we guessed for Blockers, which were the new releases last week. Quiet Place was indeed number 1, knocking off Ready Player One for Ready Player One's second weekend, so that ain't doing too hot domestically.
Yeah.
More than that in a bit. But Quiet Place, you guessed 25 million.
Yep.
I guessed 35 million, thinking, this will be a pretty solid horror opening, I think. It was good buzz, that kind of thing.
And just 25 isn't bad for a horror movie.
No, it's not. I mean, it cost 17 million to make, so making molding your budget on your opening weekends not too
and of
shabby.
Course, we checked the predictions after that, and I think we got 33 for the predictions at the time last week.
Yeah, so I was feeling quite smug because I was very close. I still win, but it did go up. It went up to 50 million opening weekend.
Yeah, that's quite a significant jump up from 33 prediction to 50.
Hey, the predictions on Friday are not as reliable. When you get to Sunday, you get those Sunday predictions. They're pretty close usually, bar maybe 1 or 2 million either way. So, no, 50 million. That is excellent.
Damn impressive.
For a horror movie's opening weekend. So, needless to say, you can expect sequels of some variety. You can also expect John Krasinski to get more directing work. In fact, there may be something in the news later on that very subject. So, that's pretty cool. I always like to check the worldwide figures, see what it's at the current time of recording. It's funny actually. You know how there's been a lot of big movies recently where it's been very weighed towards the foreign markets and domestic's been a low percentage. This is the opposite. 71.2% of this is domestic.
Interesting.
And it's made 89 million so far. That said, I believe this has more of a rollout where a lot of markets don't have it yet. So that'll maybe be part of the reason why the percentage is so low for the foreign number. I know they just set a release for China, I believe, which is...
Oh, that'll be a nice boost.
Which is interesting about that, though, is I believe that China don't typically take in foreign horror films.
Oh, do they not?
This is actually kind of a notable first, at least in a while.
Right.
So,
I think it's just worth noting, we're recording a day earlier than usual, so these numbers are a day less than what we typically talk about.
What?
When we talk about these numbers for what they are now.
Oh, sure, yeah. Normally we read these at the time of recording. It's the Friday, but it's the Thursday today, yeah. Sure.
So they'll be slightly less than the usual for comparison's sake.
Yeah. But yeah, basically it just means that we don't have Thursday's numbers yet. We have Wednesday's numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So next up, Ready Player One was number 2 with 24 million, 24.6 specifically.
What did we say for that?
We didn't guess for that this week.
Oh, did we not? Did we
No.
not bother?
Didn't bother. We just guessed for the new 2.
I remember an offhand comment. I think we said around 2022.
Yeah,
And we both kind of agreed, yeah, probably in that range.
Yeah, so it was just a couple of million higher, so that was pretty close. That's actually now in 399 million worldwide, but that is mostly thanks to the foreign box office. It's actually scraped 100 million domestically, but yeah, the rest of it's all. So it's only 25% is domestic.
That's pretty rough.
So
Pretty
I mean, it's
rough.
doing fine worldwide, so it's not a failure in the grand scheme of things, but still
No.
interesting. Number 3 was Blockers, the new comedy, 20.5 million that was, which has made 35.9 million worldwide. So obviously it's a lower budget movie, so that should be okay for it. Then we have Black Panther at number 4 with 8.7 million. That's still bringing money in. That has crossed 1.3 billion at the worldwide box office.
Yeah, a little note on that. I think domestically that's now crossed Titanic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. But presumably
it's-
not a couple of other things.
No, it's worldwide. Domestically, it's now the third highest grossing.
Yeah, I assume Force Awakens and Avatar are the 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Not in that order, though.
No.
Because even a Star Wars wasn't enough to beat James Cameron.
I think it was domestically.
Was it?
Yeah.
Maybe it was. Okay, fair enough.
I'm actually looking at the numbers. I've got the numbers in front of me now. So it's on Black Panther's on 667 million domestically. Avatar was 749 and Force Awakens was 936. So it smashed Avatar.
See, that just tells me that domestically people have worse taste than the rest of the world, because worldwide Avatar kicks the shit.
smashes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not disputing that.
So that's all that says to me. Number 5 is Tyler Perry's Acrimony with 8.3 million. Number 6 is I Can Only Imagine with 7.8 million. Number 7 is Chadwick with 5.7 million. Number 8 is Sherlock Gnomes with 5.4 million. Number 9 is Pacific Rim Uprising with 4.8 million in its third weekend. Of course, I'm investing in seeing what that's doing worldwide. It's at 268 worldwide. This is feeling a little bit low to get a sequel to me.
It is. But maybe they'll go, one more just to round it out.
Yeah, we'll see if Universal feels that way.
I'm being optimistic. I want a third.
And number 10 is Ale of Dogs with 4.5 million. Also, just for the record, I was curious what Tomb Raider's worldwide is now. That's at 14 on its fourth weekend with 1.9 million, which is a pretty big decline over 4 weeks, I think. But it's made 263 million worldwide, and that was, relatively speaking, a medium budget. It's weird now we're at a point where 94 million is a medium budget, but it kind of is now.
Yeah.
So, that could scrape a sequel for itself.
It could. I think other things this week's worth noting that Jumanji is now Sony's highest grossing movie. It crossed Spider-Man.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's very strange. Coming out this weekend, though, we have Truth or Dare, the very shitty-looking horror movie, and
So bad.
it does look really, really bad. And we also have Rampage coming out. So
Which looks so bad it might be stupidly fun.
So we can make some guesses for these. And I think it's probably worth doing weekend 2 of A Quiet Place as well. I'm curious to make some guesses for that.
Yeah, I'm intrigued that one because obviously that's got a lot of good word of mouth.
That's getting buzzed, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to type in Rampage here, and then I'm going to copy and paste. So we've got our names again for, what's the other one? Truth or Dare. Alright, so I think for Quiet Place, is going to be number 2. I think it's going to beat Truth or Dare. I think Truth or Dare is not going to manage to beat its second weekend.
I think no question about that.
I think Quiet Place second weekend, it was 50 this week. I actually think it's going to get 30 next weekend then.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking more 23.
23, okay. I'm thinking strong word of mouth. I feel like it's going to have legs.
It might well. I'd be happy to be proven wrong on this one.
Truth or Dare, of course, I'm expecting to be number 3, I imagine. Because it's coming out on Friday the 13th, so it's got some of that holiday buzz. That said, Quiet Place is still there to take that from it.
Yeah, I'm not expecting huge from this. I'm 18.
Oh, you're going with 18. I think I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'm going to go with 15, I think.
Yeah, again, that's another one where it definitely in that sort of range.
Don't say that, because immediately, as soon as the numbers come out, we look like idiots when you say it's definitely in that range.
Well, I know, that's what I mean. I definitely think that. It doesn't mean it definitely is.
Rampage is an interesting one. It's going to be huge.
No, I think it'll be all right. Maybe 32.
You're thinking 32?
Which is probably underwhelming for it, but...
I'm going to go 37. So I think for the box office for the weekend as a whole, it's going to be quite healthy, but it's going to be more spread out between the top 3 or 4, as opposed to you. Because obviously when like Black Panther comes out, that's like 99% of the box office in that one movie, and then the rest are just scraps. Or scraps, rather. There's a tiredness coming in.
Yeah, I was just going to make that comment myself.
There you go. So that's the box office, and we've made our predictions. I've got them noted down. We'll come back to them next week, and we'll see how we do. So like I say, it's a lighter news show this week. A few less trailers, a fair bit less news. For example, our comic book section, which we'll go into now, only has one story in it.
We have comic book news?
We have one. We have one bit of comic book news, a bit of small news. But Batgirl has a writer.
I thought Batgirl was dead.
That's what I thought. But Christina Hodson is now working on a Batgirl script. She is taking a stab at that. She also worked on a Birds of Prey script at one point for them recently. So they seem to like her. She also wrote the Bumblebee spin-off, which we'll see if that ends up being good.
I am, for some reason, looking forward to, even though I know I shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know why you are. Of course, the important thing to note here is that this was previously going to be done by Joss Whedon, who is the creator of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, all right, I'll let you have this one.
So easy. Honestly, I'm surprised that they're even working on it with him being gone. I'm pleased. I want a Batgirl movie, but as always with these DC movie news stories, grain of salt. They come and go so much. Like they must have announced something like 30 films in development by this point.
Oh, easily. I hands down don't believe a thing they see. When they tell me something, I don't believe them.
Not until
all right. Well, when I see it.
When there's set photos, I begin to believe it exists.
Yeah.
Set photos are where I start to, okay, this is a real movie now. Okay, this is a thing that's happening. Because
even then, I'm still like, there's no trailer yet.
No, set photos prove there's stuff being shot. I mean, it could get cancelled, but there's stuff being shot. Because that's the thing, like, with Marvel, I don't doubt anything. Like, sure, they cancelled one movie, they cancelled Inhumans, turned out for the better as well. 1
out of, 20 now?
Yeah. But when they say they're making something, I believe they're going to make it.
Absolutely, and even, the release dates have been mostly, they're shifted around a little bit, but they haven't been too far off from what they've said.
And it's always been for a new movie as well. It's always been like, so Spider-Man came in, so we'll knock the next batch back by one slot.
Yeah, none of them have been actively delayed, I don't think.
So that's the comic movie news. That's it. So we'll move on to the general stuff. We have a few quick things to mention here, actually. First up, the Terminator movie that's coming out next year, the sixth one in the franchise. Although it's, by the sounds of it, it's going to be like this kind of like ignoring like at least 5 and 4, if not 3, 5, and 4.
Are they doing what the Halloween movie's doing?
I have to imagine they are. It makes, because Cameron's producing, and we've mentioned casting the last few weeks, so they're doing stuff. But they've delayed it. They've moved it from July 26th, 2019 to November 22nd, 2019. This isn't a big deal. This far out, this is a normal delay.
No, I'm with you. They're just not quite in line, ready to get started when they thought they were.
It's worth mentioning that the studio said this has nothing to do with Schwarzenegger's recent heart surgery that he had last week. Which I like to mention that speedy recovery, all the rest of it. I'll be sad. He's one of those guys that I grew up caring about. That it'll be a sad day when.
I will say the reports at the time seemed a bit overblown. They were all like, "Oh, he's rushed for open heart surgery," and then the statements came out. I was like, "No, it was just this routine valve replacement that he was meant to be having."
Well, no, he was there anyway, but then it wasn't meant to be open heart surgery, and then it turned into that when they realised, oh, this isn't going to work. So
Yeah, but it was a bit overblown still.
Yeah.
Like, the headlines made it sound like he was rushed there for this stuff.
Yeah, but I'm glad he's okay because I like the
Yeah.
dude. So next up, we have a bit of casting for the Mulan live-action remake that's coming. We have Donnie Yen, who, of course, the big martial arts action star. People might know him recently from Rogue One, a Star Wars story,
Yes, they might.
because he kept saying the same thing over and over again, so people like that for some reason.
Look, they like the character and his relationship with the other guy.
No, they liked that they had a catchphrase that he repeated 50 million times.
I mean, there's that too. People do like that.
Oh, I can remember that because they drilled it so much into my head that it almost feels like it meant something.
I'm pretty sure it did mean something.
Piss off.
You really hate that movie, don't you?
I hate that movie so much. That movie was such a waste of my goddamn time. It wasted so many good people in it as well.
Such a good movie.
Forrest Whitaker can be such a great actor, and he's like awful in that movie. Anyway, moving on. Atomic Blonde. I mean, this is that's just how light a news week it is. I saw that Charlize Theron said there was going to be a sequel. I thought I'll put that in. She's saying there's a sequel happening, so possible Atomic Blonde sequel.
I'm down. I really enjoyed that one.
So it said they're actively working on it. I actually didn't finish it. I tried watching it at home and wasn't my type of movie.
Yeah, it's because you're the worst. We just established that with the Rogue One talk.
The spy stuff. So, believe it or not, that takes us on to trailers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, halftime trailers at the 17-minute mark.
This really might be the shortest thing yet.
Oh, it has to. This is easily maybe
the
shortest episode, yeah. We'll see how long that... I mean, I think the trailers will be the longest section by a considerable margin.
Probably.
So, first up, I actually kind of forgot about this one. I'd sent Connor all the trailers to watch. He's like, what about this one? And I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing that happened this week. So first up, as always, the links to all these trailers are in the description if you want to check them out for yourself, to follow the conversation along with us. So the first up, we have Solo, a Star Wars merchandising opportunity. And this is the full trailer with yes. Good comments to say, you ginger cretin.
Well, I'll get to my comments.
Did you actually watch this?
I did, because I realised that this is the first the last one only counts as a teaser. So even though it was like a minute and a half,
I'm going to call you out of hearing your bias. Not because you're necessarily breaking the rule that you've always said, more because anytime I send you a trailer and tell you the first one was a teaser, you always go, oh, but was it? It didn't really feel like a teaser. Was it really a teaser? Like, you always debate it, you always fight me on it, when it clearly was called a teaser and then the new one's the full trailer. And then, no, but this one's Star Wars, so you don't even have to think about it. You're jumping in head first.
I thought about it. I held off on this for 4 whole goddamn days until I caved. And then I was like, all right, I'm justifying it to myself. I really thought... I thought about it.
Do you know when I watched this?
Right before we just started recording.
Yeah, right before we started watching, because I didn't give a shit. So
I know. But, look, for me, not watching it instantly is holding off and being, okay, 4 days. Give me some goddamn credit.
What of celibacy? 4 goddamn days. All right.
Let's see you go 4 goddamn days.
I don't even know what that joke means.
I don't either. I'm quite tired too, to be honest.
What did you care about Star Wars? What do you think?
All right. You. Why do you hate it?
I don't hate it. I just don't care. I'm indifferent.
Okay, fine. I think this is a pretty solid trailer, and I am honestly, given all the behind the scenes.
I was going to say, honestly, my main thing is less to do with the trailer itself and more that I am just not ready for another Star Wars movie.
Okay, but as a trailer for this movie, just pretend the last one didn't just come out and you didn't hate it.
Okay.
Honestly, opinion on this. How do you feel as a trailer for a movie? If this wasn't a Star Wars movie?
I mean, it seems like a heist movie. Seems like a basic heist movie where it's getting the crew together and they're going on the mission. I think, okay, you can separate it from, okay, get over your fatigue of Star Wars and you're not ready for another one 6 months later. Okay, I mean, that's a factor. That's obviously why I'm indifferent to most of it. That's why I'm groaning at just even hearing some of the themes. as they're playing throughout the trailer, I'm like, oh, this is another Star Wars theme. I haven't heard that in the last 6 months. But I think the other problem, just not so divorcing it from the fatigue, but still keeping it intact as being Star Wars. I think there's an inherent thing where I'm spending more of the time in the trailer watching his impression of Harrison Ford and seeing how, is he getting the mannerisms, is he doing those little things, is he feeling like Han Solo.
That's fair.
And I think it's debatable if he is. Obviously, I like Donald Glover. He's doing his Lando impression. And it is fine. Like I'm not excited by the idea of just returning to the young versions of these characters. So just inherently, I'm just like I'm not thrilled by any of it. And then also Dragonface from Game of Thrones is
Emilia
terrible.
Clarke.
Yeah, she's a terrible actress. So I'm not feeling her in it at all.
I saw a comment saying I was really into this, but then Woody Harrelson popped up, and I thought, screw this, I don't want him in Star Wars. I'm like, what? What is wrong with you?
Donald Glover and Woody Harrelson are the shining beacons of hope at the centre of this.
I agree with that. I've been pretty cynical about this movie, given all the behind the scenes, just in concept as well. Don't get me wrong, it's easily the one I'm least excited for.
Yeah.
But those two are clearly the best parts, like of what this is promised to be. I don't know who is going, oh no, get them out of my Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I'm so indifferent with a mild annoyance that I'm hearing Star Wars things again.
You're just, I can see, there's the train sequence. Mm-hmm. You're just going to be going, this was better in Firefly the whole time, aren't you?
On TV effects from 2002, yes, it was better in Firefly. Yeah, I mean, I assume that's the big heist that they're going to be doing in the third act. So, yeah. You would imagine so.
It looks pretty good visually.
Oh yeah, visually it looks fine. I think for me, my big thing with prequels that I hate in most prequels is the hey this is referencing something from the future. The way they're constantly hinting at like, oh, Lando's got the Falcon and he's like, hey, buckle in, kids, and like there's all these little things. I'm like, see you know about all these things from the future movies.
No, that's right. There's some stuff that was more subtle that I did like. When Woody Harrelson he throws Han the gun, and there's very much what he does with Rey in Force Awakens. It's like, okay, that's a nice parallel there that isn't just throwing this in your face.
Sure, it's basically, I mean, my quickest reference to make you understand how I feel about it is kind of how in Smallville when they constantly make Superman foreshadowing comments.
I get it.
It's kind of that. It's not as ridiculously blatant as that because we're still dealing with the actual characters' histories and the events that we know led to these things.
Yeah.
So you kind of mix half of that annoyance of, oh, we're foreshadowing everything with, it's also kind of redundant because it's backstory we didn't really necessarily need because it was backstory.
No, that's fair. I have actually seen people from Lucasfilm talk about this as if it's a biopic. Like that's kind of the way they're treating it. As if it's like an in-universe biopic almost. So it's going to be like, okay, this is the period of his life that's like that. So it will have a lot of those biopic-style beats of, here's the key moments. Which, for better and worse, I guess.
Yeah, because that's actually, funnily enough, I don't particularly love biopics in general.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I don't need a young Han Solo, I don't need a biopic of Han Solo.
No, that's fair. I completely get that. But like I said, given all the behind-the-scenes mess that we've heard about with this movie, this trailer is better than what I expect.
Hashtag Peter doesn't have to review Solo.
Oh, he does. He does.
Connor and Matt are Star Wars fans. They can take it. They can see it.
You've only got 6 weeks, and then you can just buckle up and watch it and get it over and done with.
That's 6 weeks I have to dread this. That's 6 weeks I have to wake up in a cold sweat that I'm going to have to go see another Star Wars movie.
Look, you can get through. You got Avengers first. And you can.
I'm looking forward to that a lot more.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to worry about this till after Avengers. So that's only 4 weeks that you got to dread it.
Okay. I'm a little bit more pumped for Avengers than I wouldn't say I'm super excited for it. I'm not like I was back when I was super excited about the Marvel movies. I'm definitely the most excited I've been for Infinity War in the last year and a half.
That's fair.
Not super excited, but I'm definitely, I'm inching towards, I'm hopeful this is going to be the next big capper on all this crazy journey. I'm inching towards it a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I think the trailers hype me up. I'm liking the...
I've still only seen the one, so...
I'm liking the feel of them.
I'm digging the poster design. You know, the put out last week or so for all the characters.
Oh yeah, all 27 of them.
Yeah. But I did really like those posters. Thought they were nice.
My favourite part was when you put the Bucky, the Cap, and the Scarlet Witch one side by side. It basically has a makeshift version of the meme of the guy like turning around looking at the other girl.
Yeah.
His
That
girlfriend.
was good.
That was pretty funny. Saw that on the interwebs. The internet can be a harmless, jovial place at times. It can be an awful, intimidating place at others. But sometimes you get stupid images of cats falling off of things, and it's hilarious.
You do get a lot of that on the internet.
You do. Cats are great. Cats, internet loves the cats.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Because you have no soul.
Yeah, no, we just established the internet can be wrong about many things, and that is another one.
Yes. Well, see, I can't even know where I say with Star Wars, because the internet was very 50-50 on Last Jedi.
It was, wasn't it? I'm intrigued to see how it comes down on this one so soon after the last one.
And the funny thing is, as well, is that I feel like I can't even necessarily just agree with everyone who didn't like it, because a lot of the reasons why fans of Star Wars didn't like it weren't the reasons why I didn't like it.
Yeah, there was a lot of really split opinions on that movie, and then you had some people who just didn't like it for really shitty reasons.
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh, yeah, there was the assholes who were just being sexist, and then there was people who were like, oh, no, it's ruining my Star Wars, you're altering my mythology.
Anyone who says it ruined Star Wars, shut up. It didn't. Even if you didn't like it, it didn't ruin the movies that you've already got. Go back and enjoy those. And there are people who, obviously the home releases, just happened, I think. And there are people going, oh, don't buy it, they'll make a sequel. I'm like, of course they're going to make a sequel, you knob. Did you see how much it made? It doesn't matter. You could literally sell this, like, not a single copy of this on the home release, and they still made enough to fund a sequel again.
Rey versus Kylo. Dawn of Justice. They should have called it that.
Don't do that to me.
And the big twist should have been mild spoilers for Last Jedi. So when he's like trying to tell her about her mother and who her parents are, instead of what he did say to her, it's really like, your mother's name is Martha, and so is mine.
Oh. I'm not gonna lie, if that happened, I would hate it, but love the
actually, even better.
Of it.
He would say his mother's name is Martha, and then that would like trigger a memory in her, and she'd be like, I think mine's is too. Martha.
Oh, this shit writes itself, doesn't it?
I'm not saying that Last Jedi is bad as Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman, actually, I hate way more because it breaks things I like, but still, it's worth the humour of it. But anyway, so more trailers. You dragged that out sufficiently.
I did somehow. Well, we had to get something out of this show.
All right, let's fly through these trailers. Next up, Ocean's 8, the all-lady Ocean's 11 movie. Sandra Bullock and your Kate Blanchett and Mindy Kaling's in there. Rihanna's in there.
Yeah, I was like, why are we doing Rihanna in movies again? What's going on? I thought we gave up on that.
Well, she was a big hit in Valerian. I don't know.
Oh, I forgot she was in that. Obviously, I didn't see. Do you know what? I saw the last 5 minutes of that the other day.
Oh, really?
Because my girlfriend was watching it, and I walked in at the end, and I was like, you watching Valerian? She's like, yeah. I was like, why? She goes, don't know. I'm just watching this last 5 minutes of the pair of them talking. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't watch this shite.
That's pretty bad.
It looked awful.
How did you feel about Ocean's 8?
I don't hate it. I think it looks like it could be perfectly fun, but I definitely don't love it either.
It looks kind of generic to me. I haven't seen all the other Ocean's movies. I've seen the first one. I didn't really like it that much.
I'm a fan of the first one.
And people do like it, but it has a fan base. I never bothered seeing 12 or 13, and I'm not particularly interested in this. And the funny thing is, it's not that I dislike heist movies. I actually quite like heist movies. There's tons of heist movies I like. Yeah. But for whatever reason, this franchise has never hit it for me.
Well, that's fair. I think it looks like it could be fun. I don't know. The trailer's weird. It has no pace to it. Like, it feels like really relaxed, like way more relaxed than it should feel for a heist movie trailer.
Yeah, I just feel like it's ramping up and ticking down. Or
yeah. It's just kind of really casual. I'm like, yeah, okay, but I don't know if that's just a weirdly cut trailer or if it's a symptom of the movie as a whole.
Yeah, I don't know. I know. Next up, we got a trailer for Hot Summer Nights.
This week's A24 movie.
This week's A24 movie. Although, marking a first here, it's an A24 movie I'm not that interested in.
Yeah, me either.
It's about a kid who gets sent off to his aunt's for the summer, and he ends up falling in with drug dealers and selling drugs, and he has a romance with Micah, what's he, Monroe? From It Follows. Is that actress?
Yeah. I know her from that, but I couldn't tell you her name.
Yeah. And, you know, so I mean, there's some style to it, but ultimately it's, I don't know, there's nothing that makes me less interested in a story than saying, oh, it's about a kid who starts dealing drugs for the summer.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, I can't say this looks like a bad movie, because it looks well made, clearly.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I have absolutely no interest in ever watching it.
No, that's fair. So, hey. Next up, we got a trailer for Hearts Beat Loud, which is Nick Offerman, who's this kind of cool dad who wants to start a band with his daughter, and they make music together, and it kind of actually starts to go. So it seems like one of these weird coming of age movies where he gets through his midlife crisis as she goes through our regular coming of age at the same time.
Yeah.
And they kind of learn from each other, and they have this hit song. It plays in, well, it doesn't play in the radio because now we're in
it's Spotify.
Yeah, 2018. So it shows up in the Spotify playlist, and he's all
Exactly.
excited by it. It looks like, what I like about this is I like the idea that Nick Offerman's actually like the main character in a movie. He's not just like a supporting character like I'm used to seeing him in.
No, that's true. Do you know, this is a really weird trick, because obviously now trailers do that stupid like cut-out bit at the start before the trailer actually starts. And I watched that, and it's the bit where he's he's in the bar. He's like, "Oh, this is my band. This is my song." I was like, "Oh my god, this looks awful." But then in context of the full scene, it worked a lot better. I'm like, why would you cut that out as your bit there? It was horrible.
Because it auto plays as an ad on YouTube, so they know some people are only going to see the first 5 seconds.
Right. But why would you choose that as the cutout? Is my question. I understand why they do the cutout, but that part was like really awkward and didn't play well at all as the cutout.
I think it looks kind of endearing, kind of delightful.
I'm down for it. I like Nick Offerman. I like Casey Clemens.
Yeah,
I like this musical thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's a rush out and see kind of movie, but it's definitely got some potential.
Yeah. You got Ted Danson there as well.
Oh yeah, Ted Danson. I like Ted Danson. Next up, we had a trailer for a movie called Dude. This is a Netflix movie, and this is about a group of teen girls who are almost ready to graduate, and this is another drug themed movie because they just seem to be doing drugs the entire thing.
Well, yeah, it's coming out on 4/20, and it's all so
yeah, that's their entire thing.
It's a stoner movie, but it's girls instead of guys.
I have never lost interest in a story quite as much, and just done a U-turn. I do not like stoner humour, so I'm out.
Yep,
it's a shame. I like Alexandra Shipp, who's in the movie. She was in a movie called The Tragedy Girls that me and Tim did in streams not too long ago. She was Storm in the new X-Men Apocalypse. She's quite good, but no part of me wants to see this at all.
No chance. And I'm someone who just sticks on random Netflix shite relatively often. And even I won't be putting on this one.
Yeah, no. Just it didn't look very funny. The characters didn't seem all that likeable to me. And then stoner humour, I'm good. Next up, we got a trailer for a film called Future World, which has James Franco and Mila Jovovich in it.
Yep.
And it is a film that clearly only exists because Mad Max Fury Road did quite well.
Yeah, this is Mad Max meets Westworld.
So we have a future apocalyptic wasteland, and we have this android chick who gets woken up and kind of becomes sentient and decides to fight against the bad raider-looking dudes, which James Franco and Mila Jovovich are part of. Is it just me, or did this look insanely cheap?
It did. I was like, this looks like Mad Max, but really cheap, and like cheaper than even the original ones somehow. Well,
yeah, that's because movies are shot differently now, so it stands out. You got all away with a lower budget back in the day.
That's true.
Yeah, this looks really bad to me. I feel like I like the subject matter. What's funny to me though is that this actually happened before in the 1980s when Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, came out and was a big hit. You got lots of cheap knockoffs, and this feels like the Hollywood cheap knockoff of Mad Max.
It does.
But with a robot.
It
obviously.
has no momentum in the cars and the bikes either, which is
No.
really weird if you're going to do a Mad Max knockoff. That's kind of like the key part, right? Get your action on your cars and bikes looking good.
Honestly, the only thing that was remotely interesting, I think Mila Jovovich seemed like she was putting some, had some charisma. So like she was putting in a bit of a performance
Yeah.
as a shady character. Who was this? She was reminding me of a grown-up version of someone. Who did she remind me of? She reminded me of like a character in another thing, but someone who was more grown up.
Don't know. It dawned on me her voice really sounds like Willa Holland.
Oh, I think that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I think I was thinking of Thea. I was listening.
Yeah.
Feels like Thea
It's a voice. She proper sounds like her.
in Mad Max. Yeah. Well, even her hair in this, I think, is kind of similar.
Yeah, kind of is, yeah.
But this looks bad. Like James Franco's hamming it up, and it just looks kind of cheap. It looks like everything's shot in like a really crappy desert location without any interesting, sure, Mad Max Fury Road was all in the desert, but it always looked great. It always looked gorgeous.
One of the best looking movies of the year. Maybe
Yeah.
the best looking movie of that year. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly what it was up
And
against, but
this, yeah, it looks cheap. Looks quick, cheap, but it looks like it's not going to be very fun. Will we end up seeing it? I mean, maybe. It's sort of thing that might go on just because
we're vaguely interested in the subject.
yeah. Is it as bad as? I mean, it maybe depends on some of the early reviews. Like if it. That said, it could review so badly that it becomes interesting again.
Well, no, that's it. It's the mediocre reviews are what'll put me off. If it's really bad, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to watch it for the car crash that it's going to be.
Yeah, if it's really bad, we'll watch. If it's surprisingly good, we'll watch it. If it's in the middle, I'll be like, well, no, it's going to be dull.
Yeah, that's the point where I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to waste 2 hours.
Which leads us to our final trailer, The Meg.
Yeah.
Jason Statham versus a giant shark. That's the movie. Ray Milson's in there as well for reference, but
Yes, he is.
but that's the movie. And I thought the whole thing was going to take place kind of deep blue sea style in this underwater like research base, because that's where the trailer starts. But it seems to be that they go hunting for it afterwards. They actually go to the beach and the shark is, causing chaos and trying to eat people and everything else. Little doggy sees it coming and says, "Oh, I'm paddling in all directions. Screw this."
Yeah, I don't think it's getting very far. That dog's definitely getting eaten.
Yeah, that dog's dead. Good as. I mean, obviously it doesn't look good, but
it looks just stupid enough.
it's the sort of thing where if the thought of a giant shark versus Jason Statham sounds entertaining to you, this trailer does nothing to disprove your notion.
And let's be honest, that sounds pretty entertaining to both of us, right?
I mean, yeah, it's a silly movie. I could watch this.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it looks good or it's a good trailer per se.
No, I agree with that.
Which does lead us to actually picking our favourite trailer of the week, which, honestly, I don't have any standouts this week. I guess, by default, Hearts Beats Loud was kind of the one that I was the most interested in, so I guess that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm inclined to say Solo just because I enjoyed it because of what it was, but it's not the best trailer ever. I'm put it up against some of the other picks that we've had recently, and it clearly doesn't hold up against those. It's just a pretty weak for trailers.
Yeah, and I cut out a few as well that were dull. That was like, we're not gonna have anything to say about that.
Yeah, it's not the best week in general. News is kind of light. Trailers are a bit like meh.
I don't know what it is. Just that time. I wonder if this will be a trend for a little while. Is this a phase of the year we're getting into where things are just quieter from
That's it. We've been doing the TV one long enough that we know when to expect
Yeah.
the busy and lighter periods. We don't with the movie news.
Is it phases with the movie news, or is it just some random weeks here or there will just be quieter because it's just how the the dominoes have fell.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure.
Anyway, back on to regular news. So we mentioned earlier on A Quiet Place, John Krasinski's film, doing really well, and he is already lining up his next film with Platinum Dunes to produce a spec script called Life on Mars for Paramount.
Not related to the British TV show, I take it.
No, nothing to do with that. It's based on a short story by Cecil Castellucci. It's called the short story is called We Have Always Lived on Mars, and it follows a woman who is part of a Martian colony that has been abandoned by Earth. One day she discovers that she can actually breathe on the red planet, upending her world and those around her. So that's cool. It's kind of like a colony who's been there for long enough that someone's actually
Yeah.
adapted to the atmosphere of Mars, which is an interesting idea.
That's true.
Interestingly, my story here from I think Variety, no, sorry, it was Deadline, said that he was not planning to start or direct at this point in time. However, the original story from Hollywood Reporter and some other sources that I looked at did say he has signed on to direct. That is what he's pursuing here, is directing this.
Okay.
So I'm inclined to think he is directing it. It feels like that's the point of the story, is that, he's directing his next film because he's one's out. I feel like if he's just producing it, it's not as big of a story.
But it's not, but maybe they're kind of just using, hang on, his movie's out now, it's big. Let's jump on his name.
But here's the thing, though. The articles that say he's directing, it's not like, the way they phrase it, it just sounds like he's directing. No, they specifically say, because I think the Hollywood Reporter article actually said he is also producing. There's no, hazy language, there's no, a lot of them are just flat out saying he is directing this. He is signed on for that. So I'm not sure who is wrong, but I'm seeing more sources that say he is directing than they're saying he isn't.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So,
but the film sounds good.
But the film's pretty good. So, A Quiet Place, that is. So I'm for some more Jim from The Office directed movies.
Yeah. I'm also just the author. Is that I think that's the one that did Shade the Changing Girl for the comics. I feel like that name
Cecil
rings a bell.
Castellucci.
Yeah, just trying to find it.
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
There you go.
Yeah, I thought the name sounded familiar. It's a pretty uncommon name that sticks out.
Yeah. We will move on then to New Regency has acquired the feature film rights to The Boy at the Keyhole, a book by Stephen Giles. Not to be confused with Rupert Giles, the librarian and watcher.
No, you've already done your reference
hit
today.
Television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Stay on topic.
The plot centers on a British boy who, after his mother is abruptly called away to America, begins to suspect that perhaps she did not leave but was murdered by the housekeeper who cares for him in the family's isolated country estate.
So the butler did it.
Basically, yeah. And, well, I feel like because he suspects it's the butler, that the swerve will be it's not him and there's someone else.
Probably. Or she's just not dead and he's got an overactive imagination.
Yeah. It sounds okay. I actually kind of like this from a kid's perspective, the idea that he thinks his mother's actually dead and it's all a ruse. I think there's potential there for a nice little... Because I could see it being a really serious thriller. I could also see it being a really sort of quirky thriller, depending on how they want to tackle it. I'm hoping more the fun direction. Yeah. The book's coming out in October, so it's one of these preemptive rights.
Getting plenty of these.
So, next up on the news, the Jim Henson Company has acquired the rights to Stacey O'Brien's best-selling memoir, Wesley the Owl, the remarkable love story of an owl and his girl. You're curious what this is, right?
I am. I can't help myself. I am.
So, Dolphin Tale co-writer Karen Jensen is attached to pen the adaptation. Wesley recounts the story of a young Caltech biologist, Stacey O'Brien. In 1985, Stacey is asked by her mentor to raise Wesley, a baby barn owl with a wing injury that will prevent it from surviving in the wild. What's intended to be an objective study of owl behaviour blossoms into a unique, hilarious and incredible story of discovery, persistence and love, spanning 19 years. She got a pet owl and she had it for 19 years.
I have no interest in this, but I can guarantee I will be dragged to see it by the girl.
Does she like owls?
She does, and she was a fan of a Dolphin Tale as well.
Oh, it's a 1-2 punch then.
Yeah. She was. There is more owl stuff in this house than I can count.
It's a really specific thing to love.
I mean, we're talking mugs, we're talking picture frames, we're talking little owl figures. There's a lot of owls.
I'm not even going to hazard a guess of what our favourite part of Harry Potter is then.
Or the saddest.
Yeah. Hand her coat of owls. Give her some proper owl material.
I've tried.
Alright, so that's actually the end of the regular news, so that takes us on to the horror movie news.
Okay.
So we got two things here. So not a whole bunch.
Pretty short section still.
So, first up, we already knew Jessica Chastain was in talks for It Chapter 2. That is official. She is definitely coming on board for that. But we have two other names that are being sort of lined up for the adult versions of the kids. We have James McAvoy and Bill Hader, who are in talks. McAvoy is in talks for the role of Bill, who was played with Jaden LaBeerher in the first film. And then Hader is in talks for Richie, who was played by Finn Wolfhard, who of course is from Stranger Things, because you cannot not notice that name.
Yeah, such a good name.
Finn Wolfhard. And obviously Chastain's playing Beverly, the one female character.
Yes, yeah. Kind of goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, take that as a minor critique of all these movies always having one female character, not, more of an even split. But there you go. So, yeah, so that's it. Honestly, I can see Hader as Richie. He's the little snotty one who's a bit of an asshole. Yeah. I can totally see that. And I like McAvoy, so sure.
Yeah, McAvoy's talented enough that he can kind of do whatever he wants.
Very much. I mean, did you see Split? He did like 27 different things in that movie alone.
No. He didn't do 27. We were told there was 27.
Okay, he did like half a dozen, but still.
Yeah, don't get wrong. Still pretty impressive.
Half a dozen is more than most people do in one movie.
It is. It's, 5 times as much.
So, well, actually, it's 6 times as much, because 6 times.
I know.
1 is 6.
I'm averaging that. Yeah, okay, but there's a relative amount of times where people do 2 things in one movie. So
that's not 5 times as much, though. 5 times.
No,
5 times 2 would be 10.
I know. I realise that now. Maybe he does do about 10. I don't know. Go count them. Screw you.
Next up, TriStar Pictures has landed the rights to the Toymaker's Secret. This is a haunting story. It tells the story of an American family who moves into an old Victorian house in London and begins to believe it might be haunted. Very vague premise there, although the Toymaker's Secret implies there'll be some crazy toy stuff going on. The interesting part of this, though, because you're waiting for the hook.
It's like, okay, it's a haunted house movie.
Yeah. But what's the hook? Why am I specifically... Why did I put this in and want to bring it up?
Go on.
The script is written by Alex Garland.
I'm in.
Who, of course, wrote and directed Annihilation, wrote and directed Ex Machina. He won't be directing this. Paloma Biza will be directing it. But he did write the script.
Is this the first time he's gone back to just writing since he started directing as well?
I don't know. Because I imagine he maybe writes so much that he's maybe had things in between.
He might well have done, but I haven't heard of any of the other projects in between, at least. But that doesn't mean that didn't happen.
So, I don't know. Maybe this is something he'd written a while ago, though. This could be a script that was lying around, and but hey.
No, well, he's a talented writer.
I mean, it specifically says that it's they acquired the rights to the spec script by Alex Garland, so that implies
it's been sitting around.
That could have been sitting around for a while before they bought it. So that's cool. So that actually wraps up the news. And I guess we'll do the what have you been watching this week. Connor, can you make this brisk? I mean, I know we're only at 50 minutes, which is quite late for this show.
But you want to go and get some sleep.
But I would really like
how
to
long
get some
can
sleep.
I drag out this minuscule amount of movies? No. Obviously, I've been continuing the Marvel rewatch. Bit of a mixed bag this week. And I got what was the last one I mentioned? I think I finished with Iron Man 3 last week. I think I mentioned that one.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So obviously I had Thor 2, which is extremely mediocre.
I remember a couple of good comedy moments, but that's about it.
Yeah, the Thor and Loki stuff plays pretty well together, and Kat Dennings is probably the highlight of the movie.
That's weird, but all right.
I know, but I don't know. It's the same character that she's in the first one, just toned up even more because they realised, hey, people liked that, and I like that. I was a fan of her character, so that was fun at least.
A lot of people weren't though. I remember a lot of hate for her character.
No, it was kind of either it's very Marmite, isn't it? Love or hate. But I don't know. Do you have an opinion on her?
In general, I mean, she's in Two Broke Girls, and the one episode of that I watched was absolutely atrocious. So I have a stigma attached to her.
No, that's fair.
In Thor, I mean, she was fine. Like she had some amusing moments, but I didn't hate her.
Oh, okay. And then, of course, that follows up with, Captain America: Winter Soldier, which is obviously a vastly superior movie in pretty much every way, because that one's actually pretty damn good. It's one of the top few for sure.
Oh yeah, it's in top five, no doubt.
And it's interesting because I'd forgotten how much I actually do like this one because I've had no motivation to rewatch any of these in quite a while. So the last time I saw this was probably before Avengers 2 came out. When I think I probably rewatched Phase 2 for that. And yeah, I enjoyed this even more than I remember. I remember it being one of the better ones, but I've become rather jaded over the last couple of years with the Marvel movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to know that the good ones still do hold up. And
Speaking
last
of,
movie, well, no, so, I mean, I didn't get to that one yet.
oh, have you not?
Just the
Okay.
two. No, that'll be this week probably.
We actually
But
reviewed Guardians of the Galaxy last year anyway, so you can go check out our review of that if you want to.
yeah, extended thoughts,
Yeah,
many extended thoughts, probably.
yeah. Back when
Uh,
we thought we were still going to do all the previous ones every time a new one was coming out, and then we got to like the new Thor coming out. We did the first Thor and realised we can't talk about all these again.
no, we just can't. I mean,
No,
I
that
pretty much
is
summed up my thoughts in 2 minutes on two movies there.
pretty much, pretty much. Oh yeah, what
Yeah.
else did you watch?
Well, nothing technically this week, but seeing as it's a week later since we promised something that last week, I assume that's not happening now.
I mean, I could still get to it. It's not impossible.
All right, okay. Shall I hold off?
Hold off then. Yeah, hold off.
Okay, I'll hold off. That's it then.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. It was just
oh,
just the Marvel movies this week because
TV's starting to pick up.
TV's starting to pick up, and I've been busy. I've been out. I've been drinking. Arrow's been back on.
That it has. That it has. So there you go. That is this week's show. This week's movie news, which is clocking in under an hour. This is insane. This has never happened before.
Might never happen again.
The shortest one previously, I believe, was 80 minutes.
So this is significantly shorter.
And 80 minutes felt short as well, because it's usually about 2 hours. But hey, if that's what the news gives us, that's what the news gives us.
It's nice that it's happening when we're in a busy period.
It is actually. We're in a busier period. So I mean, I was going to be a bit harsher with what I was chopping out. I didn't have to be this week because it was so
You were
light.
throwing in stuff going, why not?
Yeah. But hey, it is worth mentioning though that there might not necessarily be an influx every single week this month. There will probably be a week or two off over the next few weeks, as we are so busy with all the TV stuff that's happening right now. So just expect that. Don't expect one every single week over the next month or so. Obviously, we like to keep that going, but it's kind of the thing that's it's easy to we can save some time there, but to get all the other TV and we need to fit in before time runs out because we keep getting put on these timers with Netflix.
We'll make it up to you when it gets a bit quieter on the TV. We'll do some weeks with two movies, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, most likely. I mean, we're talking July here probably because most of the stuff that's starting this month will be on throughout May and June.
Yeah, it'll be on for like 3 months. But
yeah.
When it quietens down, we'll make up for it.
I mean, really, it's just a case of when Netflix stopped giving us stuff.
It is. They're the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was just the weekly stuff, it wouldn't be that big a deal. But because all the Netflix stuff adds all this extra stuff for the week. It adds
something to, because obviously we go through the Netflix stuff daily. So it adds something to every single day, has a whole extra episode of something on top of the regular weekly stuff.
Yep.
And that really messes with our schedules.
So we'll do what we can. But
yeah.
So if one doesn't go up 1 week, that's why. Don't worry about it. It'll be back the following week most likely. So yeah, but other than that, go over to the Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Get a vote in some movies over there. The influx vote this month for next month's bonus episode is all Vault movies. The options, if I recall correctly, are The Seventh Seal, Wings of Desire, Swimming Pool, and My Neighbor Totoro.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm right, yeah. Swimming Pool's kind of a random one because we didn't know what that was, and we just kind of looked it up and went, yeah, sure, we'll put in a random one, we don't know what it is. My Neighbor Totoro, of course, is a Studio Ghibli movie, so that's a Miyazaki movie. And then Seven Seals, of course, the classic Bergman film with the classic scene of playing chess with death on the beach that's been parodied ad nauseum from other things. Last Action Hero, Bill and Ted, all that stuff. And then Wings of Desire is a film by Wim Wenders, which is a story about an angel who kind of chooses to stop being an angel and come down to earth and kind of experience life. Notably is Wim Wenders went on to direct Paris, Texas. Or in fact, no, he already directed Paris, Texas. That was first.
Which is one of your favourite movies.
Which is one of my favourite movies of all time. And Wings of Desire is also very, very good. I've seen 3 of these out of 4, actually. The only one I've not seen is Swimming Pool. But are these all first-time watches for you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. So either way, you're getting fresh Connor thoughts out of it. But
yeah.
There you go. So those are the options. All Vault picks. What's the Vault, you might ask? The Vault is a to-do list of movies that are submitted by our patrons, also in the $5 tier, where they can just put movies on this list. The list itself is public. Everyone can click on the link in the description and go and see it. But our patrons are the ones who get to add movies to it. And every so often we'll pick one and do it, or in this case we'll pick 4 of them and put them into a vote and see what wins. So that's what's happening. So yeah, that's that. Like, subscribe, usual stuff. Let us know what you thought of the news and the trailers and the comments below. All that jazz.
What movies did they get this week? What are they getting next week?
It's a good question. This week they got I Kill Giants on Jigowatts. Me and Matt did that. Interesting little movie based on a comic book. Not a superhero story though. It's an indie comic book. A very personal story.
Worth watching.
We both liked it quite a bit. So.
Oh, good. I remember we did the trailer. Way back when now.
Yeah.
And that was a surprise trailer for us. It's like, this looks like it could be really good.
Yeah, I quite liked it. And then on Streams After Midnight, we did A Quiet Place, of course, the big new horror release, so you can check out that.
Probably could have shielded that earlier, couldn't you?
Yeah. It's worth mentioning, actually, that we mentioned a while ago that the Streams itself might go on a later schedule for a while because of Tim's work commitments. Funnily enough, we've actually managed to not miss a week since we said that. Next week might be the one and only week where we actually have to skip a week. It might not, we might get one done, but it's the one week we might have to skip a week. But we've not actually had to do it yet. We've actually hit an episode every single week since we said we might have to slow down.
Somehow.
So it's actually not been that bad. So you may have to miss 1 week of streams, but so that was that. And then Influx, what did we have this past week that went up?
I don't know, because as of time of recording, it's not live yet for me to check.
Well, The Man from London went up last week. This week going up will be Westworld.
Yes, so patrons will get the Westworld this week. Yes?
No, patrons got Westworld last week.
Okay, what are the patrons getting this week then?
Patrons, this might be a skip week.
Okay. You haven't decided yet, have you?
Well, look, we've got one in the tank, but I know we're going to have at least 2 weeks where we can't record one, and so I'm just debating whether or not I put it up this week or next week.
Okay.
Of course, everyone's just going to comment saying, just put it up, you've got it ready, just put it up. But no, the thing is, though, if I put it up now, there might be 2 weeks in a row without one. I'm being strategic.
Whereas if you hold it off, you can go a week without one, you can have one, and then another week. So it won't feel as bad.
And then we should hopefully be back to be able to record them weekly after that. That's the thing. That said, we'll definitely be recording one more this month because we've got the Patreon pick to do, so we'll be squeezing that in no matter what.
Of course.
So, hey, so you can look forward to that. The winner of that, of course, was The Lady Killers, the original. That's what won last month's vote, so we'll be doing that sometime in the month.
Looking forward to getting to that when we get the time somewhere.
Yep. So that's everything. So,
your Overload movie went up this week as well.
Oh, so yes, Witness for the Prosecution went up. In fact, the Overload vote for patrons this month is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's Matt's pick. I have never seen it, funnily enough. And then my pick is Stoker. I didn't intend to pick another Park Chan-wook film because I'd picked Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance a couple of votes ago in that one. But this is his English-speaking film, his first English-speaking film. But I like it a lot. And I basically countered Matt's jovial time travel comedy with something that's this really sort of like dark coming-of-age movie.
As you do.
As you do. So go vote for Stoker, and let Matt eat my dust, basically.
Didn't you win the last? I'm assuming Witness for the Prosecution was your pick, not Matt.
It was, yes.
Yeah. Did he hate it? Did he like it?
No, he liked it. He liked it a bit. It's a great movie. Yeah. But he won the vote after that, though. He won. Easy A won for this month, that's coming up sometime this month. So you can look forward to that. Well, I dislike that movie. That movie's a fine movie, so it's not going to be painful. But he won. Good. He broke my streak. I don't want him to have a new streak, so go vote for Stoker.
Oh, see, you're laying it on too thick now. They're all going to go and vote for Bill and Ted.
Here's a bit of trivia about Stoker. When it came out, I had a friend in university who was convinced it was a vampire film because of the word Stoker, because they thought it was a reference
Understandable.
to Bram Stoker.
Yeah.
The trailer never implied once it was a vampire story.
That's fair. I will say, even now, I know what the movie is. You say Stoker, I think Bram Stoker first. Like, that's also my goes to. I go, oh no, it's not. It's not vampires.
No, it's not. But here you go. So that is us. So let us know what you thought of the news and the trailers in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Guys on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, here at Patreon, as we said, patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a link in the description. Otherwise, that is us. So thank you for watching or listening. And once again, we always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you next time.